Hey everybody, Brooklyn Prepper here, and I just wanted to make a video today about a lot of these YouTube channels, Planet Nibiru, Planet X, the Nemesis, the Red Kachina, let's see, what else? Well, you know what I'm getting at. All these sites and pages of, so-called experts on essentially a subject that really nobody has absolutely any idea. Maybe NASA does, because they're the only ones with the money and technology to really know what's going on in outer space. But I just, think a lot of these pages with these people, the thing I find is a lot of repetition, a lot of just nothing. Like there's this cat right here, Dill Martin. When he first started out, he had some kind of cool stuff, but now it's like literally all the guy does is show like basically lens flares and anomalies, which, okay, maybe it's something to do with Planet X or Nibiru, but it can also be, a bunch of other things. So, but he puts the ominous music, and I guess that's supposed to make you think it's the end of the world. I don't know. We've got, here's some City Prepper. This one's pretty good, and you know what? Because this is what really I'm all about. I live in Brooklyn, New York City, and at the end of the day, no matter what happens, if it is Planet X, if it is a nuclear attack, if it is a natural disaster, you need basic supplies if you are lucky enough to have survived the initial onslaught of whatever has occurred. So basically, you need to be lucky. That's number one. Step two, you need to be prepared. If you don't have at least a 3-month supply of water and a 3-month supply of food and some type of solar setup for basic electricity needs, on top of tools and weapons, you're basically going to be in big trouble. And if you're one of those people who doesn't basically know how to wipe his ass or cook or clean or use a tool of any sort, you're going to be pretty much useless too to the people like myself that are prepared and are the type of people that have worked hard their whole lives and are realistic in knowing that anything that occurs on that type of a level will be an ecliptic change, which essentially means the world and the life that you once knew will no longer exist, and you will be basically thrust back into the Dark Ages. And if you're not prepared to do 15 hours of work a day, basically just to get started in survival mode after the initial onslaught, you're useless, and basically you're gonna probably wind up dying pretty quickly. Like I said, there's a lot of other ones on here. Here we go. Jacob Israel, he's another kind of religious doomsday guy. And then we got USA, UK News. They're always posting crazy stuff. There's one of my Texas Prepper associates. He's got some really great information on there. Hey, look, there's my page for solar setup for newbies like me. Is another one. China Telescope discovers doomsday Earth killer. End times UFOs. So you kind of get the point. It goes on and on and on with a lot of these, so-called experts. Here's another one. Evidence, not even evidence, evidences about Nibiru, Planet X facts. Okay, first of all, here's a fact. You got to learn how to spell. That's number one. So it's been on there a week. He's got 16 views. That's probably himself hitting it 16 times. if you don't even know how to spell basic words, chances are I won't even click on your YouTube page. So, again, like I said, there's a lot of stuff on here here you go, Ryan Myers. Here's another one about Nibiru. And again, looks like just a picture of the sun with some clouds. There's just an endless supply of stuff on here. And then you got good stuff like this where people show you how to make portable solar generators, etc., etc. Like I say, getting back to the point is there are a lot of people on YouTube that, I guess they just think they know what they're talking about, but the reality is it's all speculation. And there you go. There's Nibiru 2016. This guy's constantly posting like old podcasts and interviews and stuff that are just really has nothing. Here's another one. Nibiru NASA, pathway to January 2017. And, I think a lot of these people were 2012ers as well. There's another one where they show a picture which just looks like a really bad sun image with some weird activity. There you go. Red Star Kachina, Planet X, Nibiru, big event coming soon. Like it's a grand opening of a new Starbucks or something. Another one. Okay. Oops. There we go. Nibiru 2016. Planet X, Nibiru, huge mothership, and NASA. Another one. Nibiru, hidden in plain sight on news. And here's another one. The Awake Zone. Sun activity anomalies. Is that Nibiru showing up? So basically, like I say, the point is there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of speculation, a lot of nonsense. Let's face it. Here's Hawking's, right? Stephen Hawking's. He warns alien UFO threat is real, according to Third Phase of Moon. Now, Third Phase of Moon I kind of like. He has some cool footage with alien spaceship, UFOs, etc., etc. Another one, Discover the Secret World. It's coming, but misses. Don't panic. And it's funny because all this, saying, this weekend, September 24th, the 25th, which I find ironic, is my birthday. I'll be 50. Thank you. And, that's why I have to say, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you need to be prepared. If you're not prepared, you're going to die. Basically, if you don't have water, within 3 days, you'll die. You may last a week. Without food, you may last 3 weeks to a month. And if you're not hunkered down and protected, somebody's going to kill you and try to take what little you have. So if you're not prepared to basically go back to the caveman existence of the Dark Ages and be an alpha male prepared to kill for survival, you're going to be killed. And all those elite rich people that have been building these underground bunkers and, think that's how they're going to survive. Well, you may survive a certain amount of time underground, but by the time you come back up above ground, it's going to be a whole different world. And essentially people like myself, that if we are lucky enough to survive the initial catastrophe, we will group together and we will basically wait for you at your entrance or exit point, and we'll essentially assassinate you and take what you have because of the fact that you knew about this and you decided to only protect yourself and only care about yourself. And that's the way it's going to go down, folks. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be like some, ridiculous zombie apocalyptic scenario or, I know people are into these silly shows like Game of Thrones and, zombie shows and this, that, and the other thing. Really what it's going to come down to is survival of the fittest. Darwinism at its best. And if you're not prepared to survive the initial onslaught, if you're lucky and you do survive, you better have at least 3 months' supply of water and food and be hunkered down so you can survive long enough so the majority of the people that are unprepared and left on the ground basically die off, kill each other, go insane. You know, that's basically what's going to happen. And then people like myself that are connected to a network of other preppers that are like-minded, healthy, in shape, strong, hardworking, and are capable of surviving in a world without electricity, without cell phones, let's face it, you're not going to need too big of a setup, especially for solar. I know there's a lot of guys out there with, thinking they're going to power their whole house. 99% of the stuff in your house will be useless. Even TV will be useless because there's not going to be anybody broadcasting anything. They'll either be dead or hiding or trying to protect their own families. So essentially, you will need enough solar to have lighting, and maybe if you're going to try to cook with a microwave, that's about it. Refrigerator's useless because it's not like you're going to be running to the 7-Eleven to get a gallon of milk. So that would be pointless, and it takes a lot of power to run a refrigerator as well as a microwave. I highly recommend you stock up on basic camping-style supplies, such as butane, stove, equipment, and like I said, just a good supply of water, food, and you're going to need eventually seeds. So I highly recommend you stock up on seeds because once it comes time to plant crops, you better have seeds. You better have some basic tools, an axe, handsaw, hammers. The solar setup is good for if you have, power tools with a good inverter. Basic. It's not going to be rocket science. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do this. But I highly recommend that you are at least smart enough to know, hey, if I spend, whether it's $1,000 for a solar setup, enough just to power your basic needs, once it's time to get back to, the new form of civilization as you will come to know it. And that will mean banding together with other people and, working the land to grow crops. There's not going to be too much meat unless you find some chickens and get some eggs. The cows will just die off. People will eat them. Nobody's going to be breeding them. So within no time flat, pretty much any type of land animal that can't fly away will be dead, will be eaten, or will starve to death from not being fed. So essentially, you're going to have to become a vegetarian unless you can catch small prey. So be prepared for that. Understand that, the world you once knew is completely gone. It's over. If you're one of those people who can't live without their cell phone for an hour, or cable TV for a day, or electricity for a day, you're just not going to make it. And we'll have no use for you within our team of survivalists. So you're probably better off just killing yourself if you do survive the initial blast, because it's just going to be pointless. And for all you people out there hooked on drugs, you're going to go through some serious withdrawal. You're going to wish you were dead. So basically, you should probably kill yourselves right away. If you try to come and steal from our group, we'll kill you. There's not going to be any police. There's not going to be any law and order. It's going to be essentially caveman times. Survival of the fittest, and that's just the way it's going to be. So if you're hooked on pills, you're going to go through serious withdrawal and you're basically going to die. There's not going to be any pills. So if you're lucky enough to even survive the repercussions of withdrawal, you're going to have to become a useful human being. And most drug addicts are useless. And because of that, they're basically going to be dead because we have no use for you. And we're not cannibals. And the last thing I would want to eat is some drug disease-riddled human being's body. Maybe the dogs will eat them. I don't know if we'd even want our dogs to eat some drug-riddled, diseased body. But regardless, this is what people need to know, and stop fixating on all these silly doomsday scenarios about Nibiru and Planet X and the brown star nemesis and blah, 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 blah. You know, that's all silly because at best case scenario, something happens and we all just die. The earth could use a good douching. There's a lot of crap everywhere, and it's starting to stink really bad. If I died tomorrow, I could care less. I've had a great life. It was a hard life as a child and a young adult, but as an adult, I've had a wonderful time. And so if it ended all tomorrow, no regrets, no complaints. I'm sure the afterlife has to be better than this. As a Christian, as a God-believing, Jesus-believing, also Enki-believing human being, I'm not one of these holy roller nut jobs, but I am a good person. I'm a helpful, kind person, compassionate. And that's what it's going to take if you do survive the initial onslaught of any type of disaster that basically puts us back into the dark ages. And if you are fortunate enough to have been smart enough, I should say, to have stocked up on at least a 3-month supply of food and water and, whatever it's going to take just to get you through the initial madness that will be up on the planet Earth, with all the people that will just be killing each other for scraps of food and water or whatever. And after about 3 months, pretty much, I'd say 90% of the population that wasn't prepared will be dead. So then it's pretty much time to get out there and start anew. Start planting, start creating groups of people, and, it's going to be pretty awesome. I look forward to it personally. I hope I survive. I feel I'm one of those people who's been very fortunate and blessed to be in the situation I find myself in at this point in time in our history. And it's all kind of coming together, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So if I'm, like I say, lucky and blessed and fortunate enough to survive the initial onslaught of whatever occurs, then I'm ready. I'm prepared as much as I feel I can be or need to be to start anew and create just a better place that will hopefully benefit all people. And the power structure that once controlled and raped the land and took all the resources for themselves and left everyone to fight over the scraps will no longer exist. And when they do try to come up from their bunkers, we will kill them. It's just that simple. That will be the case. We will not allow them to survive for the fact that they were aware and they were selfish and they didn't care about us. So they are not just going to come up out of the ground and go, okay, let's take it all back again. That's not going to happen. So they may think that's going to be the case, but they'll probably wind up killing each other underground anyway, because those people are evil scumbags, most of them. So to even think you would have a fighting chance being surrounded by some of the most evil, rich, elitist scumbags in that environment, don't think twice. And if they don't kill you, we will. So, just want to end at least somewhat on a positive note, if that's possible. I wish and hope and pray the best for all out there, all like-minded, good people, that if they are fortunate enough to survive whatever it is to come, then, God bless, rock on, and let's be prepared to start anew. This is Brooklyn Prepper signing off, saying, have a great day.